The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022, Season 18, Episode number 20. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We are presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And it is our first show with our new crew, Nick, Brian, Amber, live here from the studio. This is what you guys can expect all season. We actually will begin our daily shows the week of Labor Day. It will be week one of the NFL season. That Tuesday, we'll start our daily shows. We got all kinds of stuff planned for you guys this season. I think, and this might be the first time I'm telling Brian, but on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Brian's going to give us a breakdown of the opposing team. We'll be ready with that. You know, we had Bucky doing that in the past. Now we got Brian back to do that. Brian was the first one to do that before he left the show. So we'll have all that kind of stuff for you. And we got just a lot of stuff planned this year. So we hope you guys will be joining us throughout the season. Today, though, we are focused on Cowboys versus Chargers. We're going to break that game down for you. Cowboys get the win 32-18. First time they've won on the road in the preseason in what, Nick, 10 years?
10 years.
10 years. Amazing. Fun game, lots of fireworks, and I think that's where we start.
Yeah, Nick, tell us about that game 10 years ago. I know you can.
They beat the Raiders
3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Scintillating.
It was fun. Yeah.
At least they kicked a field goal. Maybe there was a field goal battle right then, right?
Yeah, I think it was Bailey, probably.
Yeah, there you go.
2012.
Wow,
but it wasn't there wasn't any kick return or punt returns.
How
or
about
like
that
this
guy, huh?
Well, that's where we got to start. KaVontae Turpin, he had a 98-yard kick return, an 86-yard punt return, both touchdowns. And then they told him, young man, go take your pads off. And
for the rest of the month.
Yeah, right. And which never happens for an undrafted free agent that you sign in the middle of training camp. Just amazing. But talk to me first about, how excited should fans be about what they saw from him that night? Because on the one hand, you talk about preseason, and it's always like, well, it's preseason. Let's slow down a little bit. But on special teams, that seems to be a little more transferable. How excited should fans be at this point?
Well, for me, I think it's all about playmakers. You want to have playmakers. He is a proven playmaker, and it's not just right here. I mean, USFL, they have some players that are in the NFL. He was the best one of the group. That's what Mike McCarthy said. He was the best guy out there for us. And so anytime you have a playmaker, I think it's important. Plus, field position is so important. If you're scared to punt to this guy or kick to this guy, it could cost you field position.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing. By the way, great interview with him when you get a chance to talk to him. I think the thing about it is the Cowboys for so many years, I mean, when we were all together with .com, how many times do we watch those games and it's Cole Beasley back there with the secure fair catch, no return yardage? Oh, if they had a little bit of a return, it was 4 yards or 3 yards or whatever. It just seemed like, though, this gives this offense the opportunity. Maybe they can get one less first down along the way. Maybe instead of starting on their own 32, they start on their 42 or start past midfield. That's what this kid can bring you. He can bring you that ability. Even if they kick it away from him, you might get shank kicks. Things like that can happen to you, as you're trying to kind of defense this guy. But I remember the one thing asking Will McClay about him. I said, Will, give me a thumbnail on this kid. First thing he said, returner. Then he said receiver. Then he said space gadget player. So those are all the things that when you start to look at the player, they had a vision of what he was going to be. Number one was going to be that returner.
Well, not just that, going back to even other guys, like, say, Lucky Whitehead or guys like that you really just see them dancing on the field. They would never, really gain much, and it was, a really long play of just moving around, and by the end of it, it was really nothing. So how excited can fans be? Freaking excited. I'm excited. So, see, it's just fun. It's like special teams became fun again. So I'm really looking forward to that this year.
Another thing, too, is that, and I'm not trying to compare him to a Tyreek Hill. There's other guys. I mean, Dante Hall back in the day, a good returner.
Good name.
I've seen Robert Griffin do this. The ability to step back you see Tyreek Hill do it a lot, and that's what Turpin did in the punt return. He steps back. Everything is north, north, north. But, you step back, you create even more space, and then you go. You can't teach that. It's an instinct there, and it's a really good
That's how
trait.
Devin Hester made his name.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you even saw it on the reverse that he had.
Yeah.
He was able to, it looked like a burst, and then it was stop, and then he got the defender to kind of freeze a little bit, and then he started again. And start-stop quickness is huge in this league, and especially if you can make guys – Teams do a good job on returns. You make the first guy miss, the second guy now misses. Now you're going to have a big return because now you've got everything blocked up. And I feel like, though, I was fortunate to be with Desmond Howard in Green Bay when he won the MVP at the Super Bowl just doing returns. It makes your team better because not only you don't want to be the guy that's on the punt return team that misses the block. When they go back and watch the tape and you're like, oh, they were one block away. That makes those guys even better. Your senses are more in tune of like, okay, if I get this block, we can spring this thing. So not only does it make, you have an outstanding returner, but it makes everybody on the return team, I think, a little bit better as well.
So we talked about him as a returner. As you said, Brian, that's what Will looked in first as a returner. And Mike McCarthy even said, he even said in the first press conference after they signed him, he was like, look, at the end of the day, essentially what he was thinking was whatever we get from him beyond returner is gravy. He's a returner. He is a guy we think can really fill that role for us. So we think that's been checked. That box has been checked. As a receiver, though, what have you guys seen from him throughout training camp since he's been with the Cowboys that maybe thinks that the Cowboys can use him in that role, even as somewhat of a gadget guy? Where can they use him there?
Well, for me, I mean, I thought he had a great practice against the Chargers on the first day. He had a deep ball. He had a couple other really nice catches. I think Brian was out there when he first got there.
Right.
Just being there, like being available, being in the offense. He was implemented in the offense earlier than I thought he would be because you're trying to learn a new system. So I think he's able to pick things up quickly and like you said, the space gadget player.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I like that.
Yeah, space gadget. But you can put in space and kind of freeze everybody and make plays. But to Nick's point, we were out there. I mean, I know the radio station was out there with you guys, and I remember a 7-on-7 practice where he had 3 catches, and Dak threw him 2 of them, and I was going, oh, okay. He's picking it up. You're playing him in the slot. He is a small guy. Let's be honest about that. He is a 155-pound guy. And, I think that right now I'm really looking forward to his body is pretty beat up, believe it or not, from going through a whole USFL season. So maybe as we get through this time, these next couple of weeks, he can get himself a little bit more rested and stuff like. And then you see even more of an explosive player. But I do remember a 7-on-7 practice very early where he had some initial catches, and I'm like, okay, this is just not a guy that you punt the ball to and hope for the best. This is a guy that looks like he has some ball skills with him.
He touched the ball 3 times, averaged 63 yards a pop, and was never tackled. He went out of bounds once and scored 2 touchdowns. For 155 pounds, that's how you do it. You figure it out, and you're like, you know what? Don't hit me.
You know what's impressive? And you see it. I mean, you see the video, and it happens so fast. But then, obviously, after the game's over, I have to go and upload things on the website, look for photos and things like that. As I'm going through pictures of him, it's amazing how well he can avoid those tackles. Like, pictures, you'll see the guy's hand barely touching him, and it's like very close to the point like that guy puts his hand far enough, it'll trip him over and he'll fall down and then that's it. But every picture is like you see it so close. So his awareness, his quickness, the way he can avoid those tackles, it's so impressive. And I hope they find a way to kind of get him involved in the offense. Not all the time, like Brian was saying, but just enough to, like, anytime he comes in the field, okay, you keep your defenses trying to guess what's going to happen.
Got to make another point about this. Somebody told me this right after the game. The best part about it, not only the touchdowns, it happened in the first half. We've been taught a long time ago that in preseason games, if you see who's out there on special teams, you have a really good understanding of who's going to make the team. Yeah. And it happened in the first half, both the Chargers guys and some of the Cowboy guys. So it's not, you can't just say, well, this is preseason. For special teams, it really wasn't. A lot of those guys are going to be out there. So it wasn't necessarily a case of, let's see what happens in the regular season. I mean, some guys.
To your point, though, I felt like the Chargers made a mistake and the kickoff. They kicked the ball short to say, okay, let's see who can cover kicks.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it turned into, oh, by the way, none of you guys can cover kicks. So they learned
kick it out.
They learned a very valuable lesson that if you want to evaluate your team, maybe you're not going to like what the final result is, because on the evaluation side, the returner did a heck of a job. There were some really good blocks when you watch the all 22 of some doubles and guys making it happen there. But if you're the Charger special teams coach, you're going, next time let's just pump that thing on the back of the end zone and go from there.
If this was the Denver crew that threw every fag, that punt return
might have been close.
Hendershot, maybe.
Hendershot got him. Yeah, Hendershot got him.
Right at the end there to break through, but you're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been fun.
No, thank you.
No.
Yeah. All right. How concerned are you guys about his durability? You mentioned he's 155 pounds. For those out there keeping score, 155 pounds is very, very small. It is, I don't know that I've ever heard of an NFL player that was 155 pounds. That's really, really small.
Yeah.
How concerned are you about durability?
Well, when you start to talk about the hills, and I know I could go all the way back to, like, people ask me about Eric Metcalf, who played at Texas and the Browns and stuff like that. Eric was 5'10", 188 as a returner and stuff like that. Hill, those guys, they've got thickness.
Jordan Lewis isn't a big guy, but he's 180 pounds.
Yeah. Steve Smith, thickness to him. Shorter guys, but thickness.
That's Tavon Austin.
He's like around the 165, 170.
Is he that small?
Yeah. I think
he was little.
He was little.
So,
he was little. But the thing to AG's point was that the elusiveness. If you figure out how not to get earholed, you find a way, because that's his life. He's not going to grow anymore.
Yeah.
The only thing you can hope for him is that his body does, because he's going to get to a point in time, and how much they use him, he's going to play 2 full football seasons for you. And you hope that he doesn't hit the wall in like week 11. All of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, Kellen Moore has figured out, all those touches that we wanted Tony Pollard to get, they figured out how to give them to Turpin. So hopefully his body, he can find a way to maintain the level of fitness throughout the entire season.
Yep.
No, my thoughts are pretty insensitive, so I'm just going to stay quiet.
Okay.
I'm just thinking in my mind what that could possibly be.
No, it's
probably about Kellen Moore.
No, because you as you have conversations, you have thoughts in your head. I'm just like, use him. I don't care.
Use him up.
But that's very cruel when you think about it, and I get it. But I guess I'm just like, I don't want to think of like, I'm at the point where I'm like, use everybody. Just use
You're not
them.
wrong, by the way.
Let's see what we get everything you can from them. But at the same time, that is cruel and insensitive, and you got to think, okay, you got to know how to hold up a whole season at least.
Well, I will also say for somebody, go ahead.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you're exactly right, though.
She is right.
The people in the USFL that play or any of these other leagues, their goal is to get seen by the NFL, get signed, and make the team. So it's their problem. I mean, you got to deal with it. So you're right. I mean, you want to play, and I don't think Turpin would care.
Yeah, but I think that's also where you're smart, and you saw them be smart the other night. After you saw those 2 touchdowns, they were like, take off your pads, sit down. I would be resting his legs over these next couple weeks.
Yeah,
give him
absolutely.
some time to regenerate, right? So I think you have to be smart about it. I get, during the games, it's we're going. When we get to the regular season, we're going. But I think coaches and the training staff, they're going to have to be smart, and I'm sure they will be, with how much rest they try to give him, knowing that he's already coming off one season and about to start another one. And so they really are going to have to kind of manage his time a little bit.
He did so much on punt return, kick return that because you'd like to see him in this game, as a receiver, but you have to be that much, above everyone. It's like Josh Cribbs or Devin Hester. They were such good returners that's what they were. It's okay. You are a returner.
Yep.
You're trying to prove you're a receiver. Cool.
You'll get a spot on the roster just being a returner. Yeah.
When you do that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. When he did that, I said on the broadcast, he made the team, and then after that, it was like, well, where's your house? I mean, you're gonna get a house. You're gonna get a spot on the Omni.
You need me to pick you up every day to go to work. Get you to work.
It's so weird that he didn't even join us at training camp. I mean, he showed up late. Training camp was like 6 years ago, right? At this point, it feels like it, but like he didn't even come out with this though.
No.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to get these guys to give us some players that stood out to them in the game. We got lots of players that had some good moments. We'll talk about those when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
This sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Back to the break.
Whether you're watching from home, cheering in the stands, the Essilor lenses will help you see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and find the perfect Essilor lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Welcome back to the second segment of Break Live from the
Those reads aren't easy, bro.
Mortgage.
I know what you're talking about there, man.
All the time over there.
Studios at the bar. Now that you're a radio professional.
Yo Quiero Guacamole. And they've got some funny ones. Party gating.
Yo Quiero.
Yo Quiero.
We are in the second segment of the break. That is brought to you by blockchain.com. And also, Nick, I know you're going to probably read something about it, but, man, there's so many events going on out here this week. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's lots of opportunities to engage with the organization. We got live practice tonight. That'll be on television. It'll be streamed on all of our platforms. We got a night practice tomorrow, so if you want to come out and actually watch a practice, you got tonight or tomorrow night to do that. Stephen A. Smith and First Take will be out here on Thursday morning, so if you want to come out and call them all kinds of names, feel free. Come on out, be a part of that. And then Thursday night, we got a big event called the Kickoff event. It is it's basically a big show that we're putting on, the introduction of the team for this year. If you're a fan, there will be a blue carpet where all the players and former players will be walking. Great opportunity to be able to just stargaze, basically look at all the players that have played for this team that'll be out here. It's just going to be a full week. And then, obviously, a game on Friday night. Jerry Jones Classic football high school game on Saturday. I mean, there is stuff going on all week. It's going to be crazy.
So this is the replacement of the luncheon we used to do?
Yes, it is.
All
the
right.
replacement of the luncheon. Yeah.
Times 12.
Yeah, it's
Times
on
12.
a whole different level, though, baby.
This is a lot like, I think it's going to be a lot like the ESPYs we just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot
Michael
better.
Irvin will be hosting it.
Oh, there you go.
It's going to be a
Should be
fun
some
event.
fun.
It'll be a fun event. So, and Nick had a hand in some of the things that you'll see up there.
My favorite thing was when someone asked me to help Michael Irvin come up with some things that Michael Irvin would say, and I was like, oh, no, not getting in his head. Yeah. So
get lost.
Yeah.
Get lost.
He said something the other day that 72 Dolphins need to be.
I saw that.
Need to be what?
We just got to get rid of these penalties for the Cowboys, and the 72 Dolphins need to be alert about their record might go down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mike believes.
Mike believes.
Mike believes.
He had a little shaky voice a little bit, but he believes.
Mike believes.
So is he going to hold – how weird is that? He's going to hold that mic with that foam finger right there. It's going to be pointing the whole time. Wow.
And he does not shy away from it. He's
and
like,
that's what
I am a
makes him
Cowboys
great.
fan,
That's
and
what
I'm not
makes
going to
him-
shy away from it.
That's what makes him great.
And that's the thing. That's the opposite of Stephen A. Smith. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like when we grew up, you didn't do that in the media.
Yep.
You know, but you do that, and you know, Michael's being honest. I don't know if Stephen A.
Stephen A. has made a lot of money going against the Dallas Cowboys. but he knows that's what gets his check.
Bread is buttered.
You also remember where he started his
Philly, right?
Philly.
Yeah.
So his old school, don't turn on us. So he lives that, but he knows. I mean, he did our video, and he did a great job with that. So
yeah, he did. All right, let's get to the game. Let's get back into the game. I'm going to go around the table here. I want you guys to give me a name of somebody that really stood out to you. Let's start with you, Amber.
For me, a guy that would be making plays, and I'm like, who is that? And then every time, Quinton Bohanna. He is a guy.
My dude.
He is freaking awesome. I've been really impressed with what he's done, not just in the games, but what?
I'm laughing. Go ahead. Remember, I'm laughing at the tweet. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
To Hellman.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Yeah, go ahead.
Just say it.
Well, I'm sorry. Hellman said on practice, he's like, I try not to get caught up in all this stuff about who's playing where, but he's getting a lot of reps with the first team. Bohanna retweets it. He goes, TF. He's like, TF, you think I'm a scrub? I don't know if Dave responded or not, but I mean, this guy's.
He did put a laughing emoji at the end of it. It was kind of joke, but yeah.
Basically, sorry, but what you expect? So I'm a little surprised.
I missed that tweet. Yeah, I didn't see that. That's pretty funny. No, but he's been good, even at practices and things like that, just overall. And I know you guys are going to give multiple names here, but just in general, looking at what
you know us.
Just looking at the team overall, I was kind of impressed with some of the things that they did just in general. But then at the same time, I'm hesitant of okay, how much excitement should I be feeling right now when you look at this? But then how will that look once they get into real games, real season games, and with a bunch of starters, and the level obviously turns up a whole lot. So I'm kind of, maybe you guys look at it with a different eye, that maybe you see something that definitely stands out a lot more than usual. But all in all, I feel pretty good about it. But then I'm hesitant of, okay, are we at the point where we can definitely lean on these guys for certain regular season games or not?
Yeah, I think to me that, I think if you show it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, that's the one thing in scouting. There's guys that do surprise you. And I'm just going to give you an example of a guy that I absolutely knew nothing about. Josiah Bronson.
Okay.
Defensive tackle. He played as an under tackle, the three technique.
94. What is it about that number?
I was thinking the same thing when I was watching the game, and I kept writing his name down. And I'm like, 94. And then I watched the All-22, and I went, okay, he's slinging guys around. To your point, how good is the right guard for the Chargers? How good's the left guard for the Chargers? Because I didn't see him in the practices or into the other thing. Now, I wasn't with you guys for Denver or for the Chargers. Maybe you could have seen it during that. But I didn't know who Josiah Bronson was. And that's why you play preseason games, to kind of figure out, is this guy, does he have something? Can he do this against real, if those guys are all NFL players, but can he do it against the top level guys? Am I missing something here? Is this a late bloomer? That was a name, I just threw it out there. But my guy, I think Matt Farniak for me, when I watched at center. And I felt like the three inside guys did a really good job when you're talking about Smith, McGovern, Farniak. And when you watched them run the ball and on the All-22, those guys were getting after it. And second-level blocks we talk about, securing down linemen, backs cutting off their blocks and stuff like that, to the point where I'm like, well, where's the competition for Biotish? Maybe it is Farniak. Maybe all of a sudden there's this late push coming from him to at least solidify that position there.
Yeah, real quick, you look at how the Cowboys have run the ball in these first two preseason games. You look at how they've stopped the run in these first two preseason games. I don't know how transferable it is.
Yeah.
What I know is in these two games, they have looked really good running the ball, and they've looked really good stopping the run.
If you're at training camp and you're walking around at night, good chance you could run into Skip Pete out there, just having fun and talking. And one thing he said was after the Denver
just so
game,
everybody knows, Skip Pete's running back coach.
Yeah. He was kind of disappointed with the backs for not hitting the hole. He told Rico, if you just keep trusting the blocks,
that's exactly right.
There.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. He listened, and so did Malik Davis, and they ran really well. My guy that I'm going to look at is Jake Ferguson.
I'm glad you mentioned him.
He's catching everything thrown his way. And here's the point there is that look at the starting points for tight ends. Jason Witten caught like 25, 30 passes his first year. Dalton Schultz, this show right here didn't think he needed to be on the team the next year. He didn't do anything. Blake Jarwin was on the practice squad. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying it's tough to come into the league. And even Chiefs, Kelsey, he didn't really do anything his first year. So it's not an easy transition. I'm not saying he's there, but if this is the starting point, this looks really good for Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, let me ask you this question. What have you seen from him as a blocker? Because that's always the question we get to when we talk about tight ends, right?
You know what?
I haven't seen him on his ass.
Great point. Yeah.
I will say this, though. Their ability for the second and thirds to run the football have been because the tight ends have been point of attack blocking.
And Hendershot.
Hendershot and those guys. I think there was one time that Ferguson missed down on the goal line that it was kind of a whiff block. But overall, when you look with the tackles, Ball and those guys, Collins, those tight ends, whether they've been in 12 personnel with a guy on the line and a wing, they've got after it. I mean, it's not I'm going to knock you off the ball and make you think of Billy Joe Dupree back in the 70s knocking guys off the ball. But it's better than what we've seen from these guys in the past. And I think that's some of the worries that I had, like how well can this offense really get back to running the football? If you have point of attack blocking tight ends, it makes it a lot easier. And I think these guys have got some guys that at least have an understanding how to get the nose in there, wall off, and then allow the ball to get behind them.
I'm flipping to the other side. The defensive tackle position to cut or trade or to just trim down is going to be tough. Tougher than I even thought if Bronson is in the mix.
Yeah, it was a name that just all of a sudden I'm watching 94 and I'm like, who the hell did I miss here?
Tristan Hill needed to make a play.
He did. He absolutely did.
He called it it's like the triple play when you get the sack, force the fumble, and recover it. Now I did see Bradley and I last night. I don't know why I was watching Jets Falcons, but Bradley and
football.
He forced fumble, recovery, a sack, touchdown. Took it all the way out. Yeah. Wow. So Jets need players too. Yeah. So
need fans too.
Yeah. Best line ever. Proud of it.
No, I'm glad you said it about Tristan Hill because to me, in the Denver game, on the touchdown that Wright gave up, he was a half step from blasting that quarterback in the chest. And it would have been one of those hit ball in the air kind of thing. You might have got the interception, but he was close a couple of different times, and he was really physical too. They tried to run the ball, and he knifed through there. And talking about just showing some power.
Yeah,
his body type doesn't lead you to believe that he is like can do those kinds of things. But he's got the quickness, he's got the agility. He just needs some health. He just needs health, and I think that's the thing that I'm hopeful for him because I think Rod Marinelli and those guys had a vision for what the player can do. He'd take a step forward and then 3 steps back with an injury and stuff like that. Hopefully, he'll get through that.
I'll throw out one other name I want you guys to talk about, Israel Mukwamu.
Yeah.
He had 4 tackles, an interception, 2 pass defenses, and has just looked like he was all over the place. Every play I'm looking, he's in the middle of the play.
Well, he can touch both sidelines.
Yeah, he is. He's long. He's long. But that being said, when you start looking at that safety position, is he having a good enough camp where maybe he challenges someone like Donovan Wilson, or is it a situation where he still is kind of the 4th safety?
But there's 2 other guys that they love. They really, really love Marquise Bell, and they like – they like Wanye Thomas. They want to see what he can do. Yeah. So it is a deep position there at safety. That
defense is pretty deep. I mean, when you start talking about a couple different positions. You already talked about defensive tackle, defensive end. I think is similar.
Yeah, I tried to do the roster the other day, and I have good football players that are not.
Well,
on
we'll
the
do that Thursday.
I know. I'm just saying it's tough.
Oh, so that's a homework assignment I did.
Yeah, Thursday we're going to get this thing down to 53. We're going to help them out.
Do you see Mukwamu being able to play as a corner and a safety?
Yes.
See,
you see him down in the slot, right?
And that's something.
Go get the tight end.
No, see, that's the thing about it is that cursed position is not for the faint of heart. When you go down there and nobody's going to block you, you have to have the instincts to step up and make the tackle, fit, finish, and do all those things. And I think the other night he showed that. And that's the thing. I mean, because when you're playing that down position, you are going to get pulling guards, tackles, tight ends, H's, all those guys are going to hit you when you're down there. So you have to have a little bit of awareness. And he's shown like he's pretty, it might not be his most favorite thing to do to sit down there and play linebacker, but at least he looks like he's somewhat comfortable doing it.
And I'm guessing at this point he'll take whatever role they give him as long as he's on the team and getting a chance to play.
It makes a difference if you can cover and play that box position, that linebacker nickel position down there. That's a big thing.
All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the quarterbacks. They had some things that we should talk about in this game. We'll talk about kickers, maybe even a little bit about backup running back. We'll talk about that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Sweet. Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, sinking, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to the break.
Cowboy fans, come out and represent Cowboys Nation as ESPN's First Take, featuring Stephen A. Smith, Molly Querom, and Michael Irvin. Films in front of a live audience at the Star in Frisco, Thursday, August 25th from 9 to 11 a.m. See Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Be ready with questions for Stephen A. Smith. For more information, visit thestarinfrisco.com.
We got to put you on that show.
You think?
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Quorum. Molly Quorum.
You and Stephen A. going at it? I think that'd be fun. Why you laugh like that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
He does that thing with Mad Dog Russo.
Yeah,
and that's like two crusties going at it.
Yeah, that's just too much screaming for me. That's a lot way too much screaming for me.
You don't understand. I almost sound like Mickey there for a minute, but that's Mad Dog.
I was about to say, how did Mickey enter the chat?
But Mad Dog's that that New York, that kind of like you're wrong kind of guy.
I would just
Nick would give him a smart.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I know Nick would have lots of great witty comebacks, I'm sure.
Well, we would talk about Marquise Bell. We would talk about Wanye Thomas. And if we can't do it, then
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Players he doesn't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like the starters sometimes.
Yeah, right. I know everything is a shtick. I get it. He's played it well.
He has played it well.
He's played it real well. But I mean, he knows he's here for a reason. He's here for a reason. So he enjoys it. He says he hates the Cowboy fans. I don't know about that.
Nah.
So
he makes money because of those Cowboy fans.
I think the point is, I mean, he doesn't hate the team as much as people think. He hates the fans. That's kind of his thing. Yeah. That's what he says. So.
Yeah.
He doesn't hate the family. He hates the fans.
Right.
Because the fans are the ones that, again, the great Randy Galloway back in the day says, Broadus, get 50% of them to hate you and 50% of them to love you, and you'll be around a long time.
Yeah, I mean, and when you're writing an article or you're doing a column or you're doing something like this, they always say either you make them laugh, cry, or pissed off.
Yeah.
He does the latter real well.
He does. Sure does.
For those that are Cowboys fans.
Cowboys fans are pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of, there are some other team fans that I cannot stand, that they're just troublemakers. And I don't like troublemakers. So.
But see, it's an entitlement thing. And
why are you looking at me?
Well, because people don't like certain fan bases that have won way back in the day, and they expect.
Are you
greatness.
talking about my college team?
I am because
we are.
Because,
I can admit that.
Yeah,
we
because
are.
I
Very
remember
entitled.
there's been times y'all would lose to Oklahoma October the 6th, and you're like, well, it's over now. You're like, what are we gonna do? Like finish 10-2 and go to a New Year's Day game? And as an Arkansas fan, we'd have a parade. Like we'd be like 10-2.
Yeah.
But
and we're like, should we fire the coach?
Right.
Nick
Should we start over?
And
Yeah.
you have fired a coach after winning it.
Yeah. Nick was having fun until Arkansas had to go play Georgia when it was 1 verse 8 right there, wasn't it? Or 2 verse 8 right there, something like
We
that.
were number 8.
Yeah.
Oh, he was excited about it.
Oh, he was excited about
in.
going to Georgia. That first 2 series of that game couldn't have gone any worse for that team.
Yeah, I think I tweeted that out. Looks like our pants are yellow.
Hard place to play.
All right, let's get back to this game. Let's talk about the backup quarterbacks. Will Grier, he was 6 of 10, 98 yards, 92.9 quarterback rating. You got Cooper Rush, who was 3 of 6, 32 yards. He had a 66 quarterback rating.
If I could say something, you're talking about the good and the bad. For me, that was the bad. And not the bad the way the guys played. The bad is they ran 52 plays.
Yep. That's what happens when you got 2 return touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm no closer. I'm no closer to figuring this thing out. I know from just visiting with people in the organization, Will Grier is going to have to go take this job, and it might be what Cooper Rush did last year, in the final game of the preseason, as well. But I'm no closer because I felt like the Cooper Rush played better than he did in Denver, and it was nice to see Will Grier get out there and throw it around just a little bit, but it wasn't nearly enough to make me think one way or another.
Yeah, and it's tough. You can't have it all because we talked about things that we did like that we saw. Obviously, two punt return, kick returns that took a lot of possessions away. We like the way they run the football too, and that But Jalen Tolbert needs to figure out how to get his feet down. If he gets his feet down, that's a touchdown pass from Cooper Rush. What does his quarterback rating look like then? It's not an incomplete pass. That's a touchdown. And so I think we might have a different feeling about that. I thought he did a nice job. You're right. Grier's got to take this job, and I don't know if he's going to have the time or the ability to.
Let me ask you a question on that. You guys probably, I'm sure you saw the play where Jalen Tolbert kind of was at the back of the end zone. It looked like to me he should have flattened his route. Is that what you guys are thinking?
Yes.
The same thing? And that's just a matter of experience. You get more experience, maybe you don't make that
didn't
kind of
it happen to him in one of the practices? Was it the Charger practice? Same thing? Yeah, same thing.
It just seemed like he floated a little bit. He didn't know where he was on the field. And
that Sun Belt League, that's a catch and a touchdown, right?
Touchdown.
Against Appalachian State.
I like that happened though because we got a chance to see them run the ball. That's something I've always said inside the 10. How tough it is. I'm telling you, this Tyler Smith is going to be. I don't think he's a tackle in the future. I think he is a guard, and I think he's going to be a mean one. I really do. Yeah. The touchdown run to Malik Davis was the one. I love that play because he is getting bull rushed, and he has to anchor. He stops, and then all in one play, he turns it, gets it, and now he's going his way.
And, it's like arm wrestling.
Exactly. He went over the top.
Yeah.
Well, he figured out, too, there was a time where he could make call for holding on a play, and he let go of the hand. The week before, the hand was on there, and they got the holding call. But he did a much better job of his awareness in this last football game.
Yeah, let's talk about those backup running backs. You got Rico Dowdle. He had 13 attempts, 44 yards, 3.4 average, and a touchdown. Malik Davis, on the other hand, had 8 attempts, 37 yards, 4.6 average, also a touchdown. What do you think of these two guys? Because obviously, when you start talking about a fourth,
they can't keep 4.
I'm sorry. When you start talking about a third running back, even it's more about what can you do on special teams. Can you make yourself valuable to the team more than just being a running back?
I watched Malik Davis play as the second personal protector on the punt team the other day.
Can't do it.
Yeah, he can do it. The thing about it is, though, they're trying to figure out spots for these guys. I don't know with the way it is with this receiving core because you've got injured guys. You're going to have to carry extra guys at least for one day.
Yeah.
I don't know where the roster spots are going to come for 4 running backs. I really, really don't. And I hate to, me personally, I do a podcast with Bobby Belt, the Love of the Star, and I said, give me Davis.
Yeah.
And the scouts were on Davis really early. And if you watch Florida tape when he was in college, he split time. But you could kind of see a little bit about like, okay, I can see. But they had him here as a 30 visit guy. And I'm thinking, man, what are they doing? They were on this guy really, really early.
Yeah. The
tough kid.
Interesting thing about this position is we're looking at who's going to play against the Bucs, and they are too. But they're also looking at, all right, we're developing young backs here. We got Tony Pollard's unrestricted next year. Zeke's contract is going to be really tough to keep. So if they have young backs that they like and that they're developing, it's kind of hard to just cut that, So I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to come down to, honestly, between Malik Davis and Peyton Hendershot. Your fourth tight end or maybe Sean McEwen. Whoever the fourth tight end is. And that's going to be a tough one.
I got 3 tight ends too.
I
have 3 tight ends, 3 backs, 2 quarterbacks.
You got 16 defensive tackles.
The problem. I think I got 11. I mean, we do the exercise on Thursday. There's a couple of spots there where it's tough, but you're gonna have to think about what's going to happen at wide receiver for at least the first day. Their roster the first couple of days is not going to be anything like the roster is for that Tampa game.
Yeah,
because they've got to carry guys to get them for those one day to get them to be able to. Let's go's a guy in Washington. If they want to bring those guys back on IR designations, they got to carry those guys for the first day.
Well, one thing that they could do, and I think they've done this before. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
Let go of all those vested veterans.
Well, you got those specialists.
Oh no, that's what you got to do.
You can take the long snapper. You can take your kicker, your punter, and you can basically just cut them. And you'd say, "Hey, man, go sit over here for a second.
Yeah.
We're going to sign you back tomorrow."
Right.
That's a way to do it to where it kind of works out for you, and you can get those guys onto your practice.
No, there's no question. But
onto your interview.
Well, hopefully, but then again, you're looking at defensive tackle again. Another exercise on Thursday.
Yeah.
But you look at that defensive line spot. How many of those guys you're going to keep?
Tackle end,
with Watkins and those guys. I mean, it's going to be a little difficult, I think.
Yeah, I look across that defensive line. I have no idea how they're going to cut that. There are going to be some good players available, I would think, from the Dallas Cowboys.
The thing with Willetsko, I think Willetsko can make the team right off the bat, and then they move him to the list because I think they're going to get a tackle. They have to
off the waivers.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna make you irritable because you said you think the guy's just a guard. I think your swing tackle is Smith to both sides, and I think if they had to play, if they would bring in McGovern would play. That would be your best 5. If something happens, your right tackle, even though he hasn't taken reps, the kid played in college. Mm-hmm. There's tape of him playing at Tulsa, playing left tackle.
Yeah,
even though he's a guard, and I don't disagree with you. I do feel like, though, you're in a situation where if you're worried about swing tackle, my swing tackle is Tyler Smith. That's my swing tackle, if you're worried.
So what happens with Josh Ball?
Keep practicing.
He keeps practicing, and I would feel less comfortable playing him as I would saying, go get it, Tyler Smith. Go line up and block guys in this league.
All throughout the offseason, up until we were even at Oxnard starting training camp, I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about the team. I don't feel good about what they've done or haven't done up until this point. And now you look at the roster and you start going down every name. You're like, I like this guy. I like that. And it gets difficult. And you're like, okay, well, maybe we're not looking so bad for the start of the season. But then you're like, all right, well, hold up. We haven't seen it yet either with everybody in and going up against who we're starting the season
if Tampa keeps losing offensive linemen, you're looking really good. You feel a lot better.
But honestly, Amber, I think that's a great point. But when you look at it, it was 2 positions that we were all like, ooh, I don't know. And those are still the positions that we're like, ooh. It's the wide receiver position and it's the offensive tackle position. Those are 2 positions that if the Cowboys have problems this year, to me, that's where it's going to start.
But even now you're starting to look at guys that you're like, okay, well, this guy can help here, and then they can help us hold up. Even guys, okay, we were talking about Turpin, and we talk about Malik Davis, those kind of guys that you're like, okay, if we figure out a way to utilize them on offense, maybe we can balance off whatever's happening at the receiver and things like that. Even at the O-line position, just in general, you start seeing ways of like imagining, okay, maybe we can make this work.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's getting tough, and it's crazy that it's up until this point that I'm like even changing my feelings about this whole roster and getting excited. I'm like, there are a lot of good guys that are like have done a lot of things here recently that have been impressive.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about seeing Ferguson look as good as he has, is it does allow them to do 12 personnel a lot more. You can use 2 tight ends. You put Pollard in there, you can use 2 backs. You can do 21 personnel. There are ways that you can use other players, so you limit the number of receivers you have to have on the field, and I think that helps you because right now, I just don't think with all the injuries, it just doesn't have you a lot. And by the way, as you start getting those guys back, you might start increasing that. And you might start seeing more, 11 personnel where you got more wide receivers on the field. But at the beginning of the season, you at least have some options to where you can kind of manage this thing for a few weeks. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back on Thursday. We're going to try to get this roster cut down to 53 guys for you. It's going to be a tough battle in here, but we'll figure it out. We'll do that on Thursday.
What's the deadline again? For teams?
Oh, what is that? Monday, Nick?
Tuesday.
Yeah. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is when the team will cut. But till then, for Nick Eatman, Brian Broaddus, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!